Hey friends, we're back again reading Zane and the Hurricane. We're starting at chapter 12. Let's get started. Chapter 12, Terrible Things. Later, when I had time to think about it, the thing that impressed me most about the man with the hat was how he kept so calm. I was all frantic, convinced I'd drowned 2 people. But by the time my eyes cleared, he'd already lifted the girl up to the roof and was reaching out a hand to help me. No big thing, he says, shaking water from his dreads. We got a little wet is all. Like like it happens every day, being tipped out of a canoe. And the weird thing is, the cause of all of it, my stupid dog Bandy. He's balanced on the peak of the roof with his tail wagging, shook the water off and doesn't even look wet. It's only us dumb humans that are soaked to the skin. I'm sorry, I say, spitting out dirty water. Really, really sorry. The man has got a hold of the swamped canoe and pulls it under the eave. Accidents happen, he says. No apology required. Okay, next thing I'm fixing to get my hat and then bail out our transportation. You children keep a hold of this roof till we're done. We good? He's looking firm at the girl. Good, she says with a nod. He scoops up his straw hat and takes the feather from the brim and holds it with his teeth and uses his hat to bail out the canoe. When he's done, he slips the feather back in the brim band and puts the hat on top of his head. Shows us how to slide down the roof into the canoe while he holds it steady. When we're safe in the canoe, the girl in the front and me in the middle holding Bandy, the man hoists himself into the stern of the canoe, making it look easy. After he's settled, he opens the latch of a little storage compartment and takes out a plastic bottle of water and hands it to me. Sip it slow, he suggests. Maybe pour a little in your hand and let that dog lick it up. Warm water never tasted so good. I nod thank you, and Bandy makes a grateful whimper. Now, we good to go? The man says, straightening the chunky black frame glasses on his slightly bent nose. Keep a sharp lookout for my paddle. Can't have drifted too far. That's another thing for me to feel sorry about. That paddle got lost when we tipped over. But before I could really get worrying about it, the girl shouts, "Yo, over there!" The man dips his hands and arms into the water like he's swimming the canoe along, then slowly strokes over to where she's pointing. Sure enough, he finds the paddle, barely visible in the dark water. Just like Christmas morning, he says, picking it up. Okay, we back on a mission. Next stop, someplace dry. Where are we going, True? The girl asks. Place I know. He then turns to me and says, I'm Trudell Manning. Some folks call me True. Miss Malvina Rollins, you know already. Me and Malvina, we family most. Not blood, but family just the same. You my blood, True, Malvina pipes up. Whatever you say, darling. Then he looks at me patiently, as if waiting for me to respond. Oh, yeah, sorry. I'm Zane Dupree. Dupree? That's a local name, but you ain't. No, sir, I'm not from here. Makes no difference, he says with a shrug. You one of us now. He dips the paddle in the canoe and begins to move along, gathering speed. We glide away from what's left of Grammy's house and into another world, or so it seems. A world of rooftops poking above the flood like little black islands and trees clawing up through the water, like the gnarled hand of the drowned. A world where the water and the sky melt together until you can't tell where one begins and the other ends. The air feels wet and heavy and stinks of sewer and oil and smoke. Somewhere, something is burning, but we can't see what, only the smoke like a gray smear in the sky. We guide along for a while, and then the skinny girl, Malvina Rollins, she turns to me and announces out of the blue, True, a famous musician. Oh, yeah? Cool. He plays trumpet, cornet, tuba, trombone, Malvina says, ticking the instruments off on her fingers. Anything brass, True can play. It real good. Not trombone, he says, chuckling. I heard you, she exclaims. He pauses to rest the paddle. For your amusement, darling. But the fact is, I'm not a slide man. Trumpet, cornet, pocket trumpet, yes. Tuba in a pinch, but not trombone. Not really. Could if you wanted, she says, expression triumphant. He seems pleased by the notion, no doubt. True jammin' with all the big names, she says it proudly. He down with Whiten, Kermit, Jr., everybody. Mr. True smiles indulgently. Studio work, he explains to me. Whiten, Marsalis, Hermit Ruffins, Harry Connick Jr., Randy Newman, the Neville brothers. Anybody needs a horn, I'm there. But backing up famous musicians don't make me famous. Wish it did. You famous to me, Malvina insists. He dips the paddle into the filthy water and says he doesn't know how far we'll have to go exactly. Floods change everything, he explains, glancing around the landscape of the submerged buildings. We got to feel our way along till we get to a place I recognize. So we lost? Malvina asks, teasing. Nah, we not lost. No such. Got a compass in my head, always points me right. True dat, says Malvina, nodding. He notices my confusion and explains, True dat has nothing to do with my name. That's the way we say that's true, only it means something more. Something like, I agree with you because we both see things the same. Nowadays, it's kind of a cliche because everybody says it, even tourists. Malvina giggles. True dat, true, she says. Now she's playing with us, he says, grinning. We keep going, and Mr. True paddling in a steady rhythm, gliding us along. After a while, I get to staring down at my hands, thinking about my mom and my Grammy and how I really messed up this time. Bandy snuggles closer for some reason. That doesn't make me feel any better. Feeling sorry for myself and not really paying attention to where we're going until Mr. True says in a voice of wonder, Will you look at that? We've come out from among the sunk houses into an open area as big as a lake. Right in the middle, this giant, rusty, red sheet box, a huge thing as long as a city block, looks like it dropped out of the sky and crushed a bunch of houses that stick out from under it like a water-soaked kindling. Impossible. But there it is. That's a barge from the industrial canal, he says softly. Must have busted through the levee and knocked all them homes off their foundations. He turns away as if it's too painful to see such a thing. After that, I really start paying attention. All kinds of stuff floats by as we glide through the water. A basketball, an empty styrofoam cooler, soda bottles, hunks of wood, plastic toys, big cups and bowls, rusty water heaters, a red gasoline jug, parts of a doll, paper, books, clothing, precious things, and garbage, all mixed together, lifted by the flood. We keep going for a while and nobody says much, like what we're seeing is beyond words. Things still have names, but they're different in the water, out of place. They don't look right. At one point, we come across a long, skinny wooden thing that seems strangely familiar. Takes me a minute to figure out what it is. The little wind vane steeple from the New Mission Zion Baptist Church, floating sideways. A big crow with black glittering eyes perches on the flat end of the steeple, squawking as we glide. Despite that muggy heat, I shiver deep in my bones. Everything looks so strange and wrong and mixed up, like a bad dream, except that even in my worst nightmare, I could never have imagined, say, a huge mass of bugs swarming over the surface of the water, splashing and twirling, crazy things, all knitted together. Cockroaches, Mr. True says, steering away from the swarm of insane insects. You afraid of bugs? Malvina asked me. If they bite, I admit. Roach don't bite, do it, True. No, not normal, he says. Can't say what a creature might do and flooded out of home. We pass another swarm of roaches. No snakes, though. I hope they're kidding about the snakes in the water. But just to be sure, I keep my hands inside the boat. Bandy settles into my lap like it's no big deal, riding in a canoe through a flooded city with crazy birds and clicking bugs and giant house-crushing barges, and a group of garbage bags slowly bobbing in the current. Something's wrong about those garbage bags. I don't know what exactly, but not right away. Terrible things happen here, Mr. True says softly. We're going to steer our way through all of it. Don't let nothing touch us. He paddles strong and fast, veering left. Don't look back, he advises. Nothing we can do. Malvina starts to sing Jesus Loves Me in a high, clear voice. That's when I know what we're seeing isn't garbage bags. It's the floating remains of those who couldn't get away, who were too old or sick to climb in the attic like me and Bandy did. Dead people, drowned by the flood. Malvina begins to weep and can't finish the hymn. Bandy crawls out of my laps and goes to her, and she hugs him to her chest. Good dog, she says, sniffing back her tears. Good dog.